Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. So thank you so much guys for watching my previous video where I talked about how I conceived triplets naturally, or how I got pregnant naturally. And now I want to tell you about my journey when when I knew I was pregnant, and how the pregnancy process went, how I coped, or how I survived, carrying 3 children in my womb. And I decided to use this picture you're seeing here. This picture was taken on the 25th of December 2013, and I gave birth 27th, meaning that this was a day before I gave birth. This was how my tummy was, so that I wanted you to have a picture of how I looked, how the tummy was before I gave birth. This was just a day to delivery of the triplet, and it wasn't easy, having to go through this period. So I'll be telling you all the things I went through. It might not be, according to how it happened, but I will just mention them. One of the things I want to say is that triplets do not form the same day, and that is why when you go to scan, you see that one of the babies is is showing 28 weeks, one is showing 27 weeks, one is showing 29 weeks. If you remembered in the other video I have posted, I told you that when they checked when they checked me during the pregnancy, the first scan we did, they saw that it was twins. They saw first. Then the second thing, the second week, as in a week later, they discovered that I was carrying triplet. What that explains is that this is why you see some women who do not do scan all the time will end up telling you that the doctor, they'll say, the doctor did and said she saw only one. Now we ended up giving birth to triplets. So once you have been checked and saying that you have multiple birth, keep doing scan, so that you will not prepare for one baby and end up having 3 babies on that day. So it's good to always scan. That aside, and the babies usually are not weighing the same. Some are 13 weeks, some are 14 weeks, so that Then another thing I did was I never skipped antenatal. A lot of women skip antenatal. At the end of the day, you start seeing their babies have birth defect. You start seeing a baby's nose squeeze and all that. I tried not to skip antenatal. I was very religious with my antenatal. One other thing I did that worked for me. I'm doing this video to encourage people who are having multiple births so that you can follow suit. One of the things that worked for me was that I took 1 apple a day. Like they always say, a apple a day keeps the doctor away. That apple a day really helped me, and I hear that it also takes away jaundice. One other thing I did was I ate a lot of vegetables, and I ate fish a lot. My husband was always buying me fish, vegetables, fruits, just to help. And one thing I did was I took calcium. From the day I knew I was pregnant, I began to take the white calcium, not the orange calcium. I started taking calcium drugs from that month 1 till the 4th month, and I was also taking pregnant care. So it is not bad if you can mix them. It's very good, because what calcium will do is that it will not make your bones to wear out, because you are really carrying 3 human beings in your body. So you know how it is now. So you need to also fortify yourself. So I took a lot of calcium from month 1 to month 4. Then another thing I did that helped me was that I began to eat unripe plantain. Not that I was able to tolerate food. Anyway, I'll get to that point. I began to eat unripe plantain, and I ate a lot of unripe plantain, and that would make the baby look very strong also. So I took a lot of unripe plantain, and then at the 8th month I took a lot of yogurt. From that time to the 7th month, I started taking yogurt until I gave birth, and that will make your babies look very smooth. It can also happen for a single child. I also ate a lot of oranges, because one thing I have known is that I heard that if you eat a lot of oranges, the blood you lose will not be much at birth. When you're giving birth, you will not lose a lot of blood. So I took a lot of that also, oranges, and I'll eat it with the rough edges. So whenever you're not just sucking the orange but chewing the inside, that's eat it with the rough edges. Then another thing is, when I was 28 weeks, I was admitted in the hospital for preterm contraction. One of the funny things is that I was admitted, everybody was scared for me, but I was not scared. I remember the church member was taking me to the hospital because my husband was not around. She was taking me to the hospital. The car broke down. I think he picked a nail. The tire picked a nail, and I saw these Hausa men who were just discussing. They saw I was pregnant. They left their discussion. They put me into their car and took me straight to the hospital. When we got there, they were like, "Do you know anybody?" So when the doctor tried to check me, I said, "Doctor, you can't check me." He said, "Why?" Because he asked me to lie down and so that he would open me up. I said, "No, because I'm expecting triplets." He now said, "Okay, where's your file?" They now brought the file. He checked. That was how they admitted me and started giving me one pinkish tablet like that I took. I stayed there for 1 week, and because I was, preparing for my PGD exam, our final exam, I had to tell the doctor to discharge me so that I can, write it. I didn't want to carry it over because I knew that if the children come, I will not be able to handle going to school anymore. But it wasn't easy for me going to school. I remember that time I was in school. One day, one man, they were struggling for space. I think they were trying to kill or something. The man used his elbow and hit my pregnancy of the triplet, and immediately hit my tummy. The children stopped moving. So I called my husband, told him. My husband came, I was asking me, where is the man? And I knew that the way my husband was asking, where is that man? Voila will happen. So I started crying, but I didn't tell him who the man was. But the man was sitting in front of me. I knew what my husband would do. People that don't, react all the time, the day they will do it to be very bad. Another thing that happened to me is that, and I want to say this so that people will take note, when you are going for antenatal, whether it is your a single birth or multiple birth, try to ask questions. I discovered that there's something I hear that there's injection they give women when they are pregnant. They didn't give me that injection. So I started asking questions, and then one of my friends, who is a lab scientist, visited me a week after or two after I gave birth. And I asked her, I said, Mary, there's one injection they used to give. She now says tetanus. I told her they forgot, and I've never missed antenatal. She said it's not true. I said they've never given me, and that's why she told me to go back and start taking. I went to the hospital. They were shocked that they never gave me antenatal. That's injection, tetanus, during antenatal, because I never missed my antenatal. So always ask questions. Do not keep quiet. One of the other things that happened to me is that I vomited every day. In fact, at some point, I vomited to the point that my neighbors, my next neighbors, like in the other side, they will stay upstairs and they will be saying, "Ma, sorry, it's okay, sorry, it's well with you." They told me to take Ijebu Gari. I should pour a lot of water in Ijebu Gari and sip the water. That it's going to really help me to stop vomiting. I vomited till I was past 8 months. I was vomiting. And then another thing that happened is that I will vomit. Once I vomit, I'll wash my face, have my bath, go to school, or maybe go to church. Something, I will just be busy. I still went to the market. I still cooked. I still did everything. God was faithful. I don't take it for granted. Another thing again is that one of the things that happened to me that period is that my husband didn't allow me watch any horror movie, any movie that the yam is looking like a human being or cassava is looking like human being. He will say I should not watch it. That you see, sometimes when my husband is saying this, I'm wondering why. But I got to understand that there's something they call transfer of spirits, because sometimes you watch a certain video and end up seeing that you give birth to a child that looks like that thing you have seen. So I now understood why he was stopping me from watching all these kind of movies. Then myself, I don't even like watching movies. My own is to watch things that will benefit me. Then my sleeping pattern wasn't easy anymore. So as you're looking at this picture, you see that this was me already due to give birth. Because of my sleeping pattern wasn't good, I now asked the doctor. I went on the 26th and they had to keep me in the hospital till the 27th when they opened me up. I constantly drank a lot of water. Please drink a lot of water. And when you check your protein level because in your antenatal, they might also forget to check your protein level in your urine. Always find out, ask questions. I remember that before this time, I woke up, I wrote my last exam on the 21st of December. I went for my last antenatal on the 23rd of December, which was my birthday, or is my birthday. And then on the 25th, I went to church, came back for Christmas, and I wasn't feeling myself. And that was how I went to, I even did pounded yam and white soup that day. So my sister came with her husband, they ate, but I wasn't comfortable sleeping that night. So the next day, I went to see the doctor, which was on the 26th, and the doctor said they were going to keep me till New Year, so that my children will be New Year babies. I said no, I could no longer take the way I was feeling. The children do not have space again to swim, and that is why I say drink a lot of water. It will help. So that was how the doctor now said, okay, no problem. They booked me for 27th December. Wow. The children were in the neonatal after they gave birth for like I think 2 to 3 days. They were just trying to check them to be sure they don't have jaundice, they don't have any birth defect. They checked their eyes and all that. One of the things that made my in-law to be very worried was the fact that I was discharged after CS. I was discharged, but my triplets were still in the, neonatal. She now called me and said, Kuti, what is wrong with you? How can you leave your children in the neonatal? What if they change the babies? I say, no, it's not possible. They won't change them. They already tagged them. They can't change them. We know our blood. And I left them in the hospital and came back. And they were like shocked. They were shocked. Sorry. They were shocked that I did that. But in all of this is that read up on a lot of things, watch a lot of videos of people who like this video I'm doing now. Be encouraged. Do not be afraid. One other thing I did that I really, really loved was the fact that I breastfed them for a year and 3 months each. I breastfed them for a year and 3 months is because I know what breast milk is to the body of a baby. So I gave them a lot of breast milk. I was rather topping up with formula as against what people would do, give a lot of formula and top up with breast milk. I was topping up with formula. So I just felt I should do this video as a follow-up to how God blessed me with the triplets, so that those who are watching it and maybe have conceived with twins or triplets will not be afraid carrying these babies. It's not an easy way to go, but God is usually faithful. And always ask God for one day at a time and be ready mentally, because most times when people go into postpartum depression is because they were not ready for what they are seeing. So read up on a lot of things, watch a lot of videos, prepare your mind so that you don't begin to maltreat your children. And now I'll do another video to teach you how I train them individually and why it's so. See you in our next one. Bye.